So good morning students, welcome once again. This time it's a session for class 8. We are going to revise, we are going to discuss about chapter 3, ruling the countryside, history. So when I have revised, I got to know that there are some questions which are really needed to be discussed. That's why I need to discuss these question answer. Let's see the questions. What are in your textbook and how it will be written in a good form, in a very imperative form. Okay, so let's begin the session with class 8, chapter number 3, ruling the countryside, history. Let's get on with the question. Let's see what the question is. The first question of your textbook: describe the main features of permanent settlement. Permanent settlement. Have you remembered permanent settlement? Yes, Rajas and Talukdars, right? They were made Jamindars. What was the work of Jamindars? To collect the revenue from the peasants, from the farmers, right? That was the main feature. Moreover, the amount of revenue was fixed. That's why the name came as permanent settlement, right? So describe the main features of permanent settlement. Why it has been done? So that the revenue or the flow of income will continue in companies' offices. Remember? Yes, during the revision, during the log notes only, I have told you all these things. So in order to get a stable revenue income, East India Company officials believed that investment in land had to be encouraged, right? So investment on land, investment over the land is needed to be encouraged, and agriculture had to be improved. This led to introduction of permanent settlement, and in which year? 1793. Mind you, clear? So in order to increase the flow of income into company's office, East India Company believed that investment in land had to be encouraged and agriculture needed to be improved, right? So as per according to the main features, now what are the main features of permanent settlement? This is just an introduction, right? Now the main features of permanent settlement: first, by the terms, the Rajas and Talukdars were recognized as Jamindars, right? Clear? And what was the work of the Jamindars? They were asked to collect rent from peasants and pay the revenue to the company. That means they have the work of collecting the revenue from the peasant and deposit the same to the company, right? So this was the thing. Another point was, it was felt that this would ensure a regular flow of revenue into companies' offices. Why permanent settlement has been encouraged? Why it has been brought in? So that there will be a regular flow of income in the company's offices, mind you, right? At the same time, Jamindars were instructed to invest in improving the land. Remember, I have told you, Jamindars were given a duty to invest in the land, to make more and more in order order to make more profit from the land, jamindars were given the duty of investing in the land, right? You might have remembered. And moreover, the last point of the permanent settlement, this was also a feature. If zamindars failed to pay the revenue, if zamindars failed to pay the revenue, they lost their jamindari rights over the land. This was the thing. So these are the features of permanent settlement. That means Rajas and Talukdars were made zamindars, and work of the zamindars to collect the revenue from the peasant and deposit it to company offices, right? Moreover, if jamindars failed to pay the revenue, their jamindari rights were also being seized or taken away, right? Good. I don't think there will be any problem in this question now. It is very clear, it is crystal clear. Now, in order to get all these things remembered, you just have to do a proper revision of all these things. That's it. A proper revision can make each and every stanza get embedded inside your head. Okay? Shall we move to the next question? Yes. Now the next question, how was Mahalwari system different from permanent settlement? I have just discussed permanent settlement. You have too many points in that. Now, in order to differentiate, because the question tells to differentiate between Mahalwari system and the permanent settlement. That means you have to make a difference. The correct way of making or differencing the things is to put a column and you show that this has this much thing, this didn't have this much thing. Already I have told you several times in the class, right? So now Mahalwari system, as far as this is concerned, it is devised by whom? Devised by Holt Mackenzie, right? In which year? In 1822 it came into effect. I have already given you in the notes also. So, okay, so Mahalwari system is devised by Holt Mackenzie and it came into effect in the year 1822, whereas permanent settlement is introduced by Lord Cornwallis and it came into effect, or it was started in the year 1793. There lies the first point of difference, right? It was devised by Holt Mackenzie. This was introduced by Lord Cornwallis and it came into effect in 1822 and this came into effect in 1793. This was the thing. Now the second point of difference. Who were the collectors in permanent settlement? Rajas and Talukdars, who were made jamindars, right? Now, who were the collectors in this Mahalwari system? It was the head of the village, or you can say the sarpanch or the mukhia of the village, right? So in Mahalwari system, the village headman were in charge of collecting the revenue, whereas in permanent settlement, the Rajas and Talukdars were in charge of collecting the revenue, right? Now the third point of difference, the revenue amount was not fixed in Mahalwari system, mind you, and in permanent settlement the revenue amount is fixed. That's why the name came to be known as permanent. That means which is permanent. The amount of revenue is permanent. It's not temporary. Whereas in Mahalwari system, the revenue amount was not fixed. You might have remembered when I am discussing the Mahalwari system, the collectors used to go from village to village with a measuring tape, measuring the dimensions of the land to the point, very easy to remember. I don't think that there will be any problem in this chapter. Usually you consider history as boring subject, but it is very interesting, isn't it? Yes. Shall we proceed on? Yes, we should move forward. Now another question was, give two problems. You have to give two problems which arose with the new Munro system of fixing revenue. Now you have to give two problems relating to Munro system. Clear? So the two problems of the Munro system were number one, with a desire to increase income from land, revenue officials fixed too high revenue. In order to make more and more profit, the revenue officials, company officials fixed too high revenue. This was the first problem dear. They fixed too high revenue. And another problem was peasants failed to pay revenue as crop failed in the countryside. Just because the crop failed in the countryside, their crop got destroyed, the peasants failed to pay the revenue, and as a result the village became deserted. This was the thing. Deserted means emptied or left out, without having any population. Deserted, to become empty. The peoples of the village left out. Clear? This was the thing. So revenue officials fixed too high revenue, number one thing. Number two, peasants unable or they failed to pay the revenue just because their crops got failed in the village. Countryside means village. And as a result, as a final consequence, as a final result, the village became deserted or it got empty. Clear? This was the thing. These are the two problems that arose with new Munro system, with the implementation of Munro system. Clear? This is also a simple answer because you have to correlate the things, right? Amount of revenue was too high, obviously peasants will be unable to pay. Moreover, their crops also got failed. How they will pay the revenue? So this was the major problem with the Munro system, right? Now over to the next question. Why were ryots? Ryots means peasants, farmers, right? So why were ryots reluctant to grow indigo? Here the word reluctant means not willing to, not in a mood to. Okay, that means don't have a desire. Okay, so why the ryots did not like to grow indigo? These are the points because of which ryots did not want to grow indigo. The first point is the planters. Remember planters who used to make a contract with the peasant, with the farmer, and they used to use those farmers as a slave in their plantation farms. Clear? So these planters paid low price for indigo. The first reason. Indigo, when the farmers or the peasant grow in their field, and when they used to sell it to the planter or give it to planters, planters give them or pay them a low price, very low price they were giving. Clear? Second point is the ryots were not in a position to even recover their cost. Earning profit was a far far-fetched idea. See here, a phrase came as far-fetched idea. Clear? What is the meaning of far-fetched idea? Which is very far. Even thinking about it is also like a dream. Okay. So, riots, when they used to make an agreement, planters used to give them advance loans on good interest, right? So whenever the farmers have the money, they have to settle out that advance. This was the thing. Yes. Now because planters were paying very low income to the farmers, to the peasant, how can they recover from that loan? This was the question. So they were not at all in a position, they were not at all in a condition to come over or to overcome that loan. Clear? And earning profit was far-fetched idea. Why to talk of earning profit even if they were not in a position to recover their cost? If they were not in a position to even pay for the loan, how could they think for gaining up of profits? Right? This is the meaning of this sentence. Now there was another problem, and another problem was after an indigo harvest, when the peasant grow the indigo, the fertility of the soil got reduced. Yes, so they were not in a position to sow the rice, which was the main crop, from which the peasants were getting up their income, right? So after an indigo harvest, the land could not be used for sowing rice. This was also a thing because of which, this was also a reason because of which riots did not like to grow indigo. They don't like to grow indigo. They in fact were thinking whether to grow the indigo or not to grow the indigo, because there was a pressure from the company officials. Moreover, if they are not going to grow indigo, how they will get the advance or money for growing up some crop, right? So this was the thing. That's why riots were not like, they didn't like to grow the indigo. I don't think there will be any problem with this part also, isn't it? Yes. Shall we move on? Yes. Now another question. I think this was the last question of your textbook. What were the circumstances? Here the word circumstance means condition, situation, right? So what were the circumstances, what were the conditions which led to eventual collapse? Collapse means over, finished, get drowned, get washed away, okay? So what were the conditions which led to collapse of indigo production in Bengal? You have to give the reasons, you have to give those situations, those circumstances as per according to which the indigo production of the indigo plantation in Bengal got collapsed. Okay, so the riots, the first point, the riots refused to grow indigo because the riots refused to grow indigo. See, this was the first point. That means they didn't like to grow indigo. In the last question I have discussed this thing. Yes, they didn't like to grow indigo. That's why as a result they refused to grow indigo. First point. Why the indigo plantation collapsed? Because they refused, they denied straight back to the company officials, to the planters, that they will not grow indigo. Why they were not ready to grow indigo? I have just discussed, because they were getting low income, low money they get, right? Moreover, after an indigo harvest, they don't show the main crop like rice also in their field, right? So because of these reasons, they didn't like to grow indigo, and that's why the ryots finally refused to grow indigo. Clear? Now they were supported by village headman and some jamindars. Moreover, they get the support from village headman and some jamindars, right? Moreover, the protest was so much. Protest means the opposition or the revolt, you can say. The revolt was so much, the protest was so much that government has to intervene. The protest from the peasant side, the protest from the farmer side was so much that government came into being, the government intervened, came in between. What is the matter? Why there is so much revolt? Right? So the Indigo Commission set up to inquire into problem. Finally, the government set up an Indigo Commission. Clear? Indigo Commission set up to inquire, to ask, to put a question into problem. That means to know about the problem, to ask, to look into the matter as to what has happened. They set up Indigo Commission to inquire the problem, to inquire into problem. And the commission, this Indigo Commission, also accepted the faults, okay, the errors of planters, right? So the commission accepted the faults of planters and allowed ryots. They allowed the ryots, they told the ryots to grow whatever they wish. As per according to your wishes, you can continue on growing your own crops. Okay, don't go as per according to the planters, right? This led to collapse of indigo production. So you can easily make out your answer why the indigo production collapsed, why the indigo production fell down in Bengal. Because first of all, the peasant, the farmer, the ryot refused to grow the indigo. They were supported by village headman and other big jamindars, right? Now the revolt was so much, the protest was so much that government came into being, government came to intervene. When the government came into intervene, they set up Indigo Commission, which after making proper query or inquiry got to know that yes, these ryots, these peasants, farmers are right. So you can grow your crops as per according to your wishes, right? So this all circumstances, these all conditions led to the final collapse of indigo. Okay, clear? These are simple words. These are the answers given in brief form, short form, simple form. Okay? Yes. Now, because we have completed our chapter, let's have some additional questions coming to your way. Okay, let's see how much we have know about the things, and if we don't know something has been missed out, you note it down very carefully. The first question to your way: when was the Diwani of Bengal granted to East India Company? Remembered? When was Diwani was granted? The first line of your log notes: on or in this year the Diwani rights were given by Mughal Emperor to whom? To East India Company, to the company, right? So it was 12 August 1765, right? Yes, it was in 1765, and the date has also been given, I have remembered, 12th August 1765. The Diwani rights or here is the another question coming to your way. What was the status of Diwan? What is the work of Diwan? I have already told you they were made Diwan. They took the Diwani of Bengal. What is their status? That means what is their work? They became the financial controller. They became the administrator of the finance, isn't it? They became the revenue officials of the area, right? So they serve their duty as chief revenue officer of province or area. The word province means area, zone, right? This is the meaning of province. So, what was the status of Diwan? What was the work of Diwan? They serve as Chief Revenue Officer, CRO. They work as Chief Revenue Officer of the zone, of the area, you can say. Clear? Now, another question. Who introduced Mahalwari system and where? I think everybody knows this answer. Who introduced this Mahalwari system? Just a few minutes before I have already discussed, right? Who introduced the Mahalwari system? And it was Holt Mackenzie, right? It was Holt Mackenzie who devised it. Another question is where he has devised or where he has introduced his Mahalwari system. In the northwestern zone or in the northwestern province of Bengal, you can say. Okay, so Holt Mackenzie devised it, and where? In the northwestern province of Bengal presidency. Presidency is the name given to the zone. It was a big presidency over there. Okay, there were 3 presidencies at that time. All the major cities. Chennai was there, that means Madras was there at that time, Bombay was there, and Bengal was there. Okay, so Holt Mackenzie has devised it, and in the northwestern province of Bengal. Okay, he has devised it over here only. That means he has placed the Mahalwari system over in Bengal. Okay, here is some another question. Who collects the revenue in permanent settlement? Who collects the revenue in permanent settlement? I think everybody knows the answer of this because I have discussed this thing. Who were the collectors of the revenue in permanent settlement? Yes, it was Rajas and Talukdars. So if you write the answer as Rajas and Talukdars, that is also correct. And if you write Zamindar, because they were made Zamindars, that is also correct. Let's see the answer. Yes, it is Rajas and Talukdars, or you can say Jamindars, because these were given the title of Jamindars and they were given a duty. What was the duty? To collect the revenue from peasants and deposit it to company office, isn't it? So this was the thing. Another question coming down to your way. What were the 2 major systems of indigo cultivation? Remember 2 major systems of indigo cultivation? It was, yes, Nij and Rayoti were the 2 major systems of indigo cultivation. It was Nij and Rayoti. What happens in Nij? The farmers used to sow the indigo, or they used to do the plantation in their own land, or the land being rented from Jamindars. Isn't it clear? And what happens in Rayoti system? They sign a contract or an agreement as per according to which they get an advance loan, right? Yes, you might have remembered. I have already discussed all these things, right? So keep on learning, keep revising the things so that everything will be in your scope. What was the outcome of Blue Rebellion? What was the final result, the final consequence of Blue Rebellion? In short, the indigo plantation collapsed in Bengal. Yes. indigo plantation collapsed in Bengal. This was the final result, the final outcome of Blue Rebellion. Blue Rebellion, remembered? Yes, the planters, the farmers, the peasants refused to grow the indigo. They attacked some of the factories of indigo also. They refused to give the loan amount to the planters also, right? Then Indigo Commission came into being, and they also declared that peasants are right? Yes, this was the Blue Rebellion. Now it's time to note down the homeworks. Your homework is learn question answer of this chapter, Ruling the Countryside. See, if I am giving the homework, that doesn't mean only that is the homework. You have to learn only that part, only that chapter. As soon as the notes and answers were given, it's your duty to remember and learn all the question answers, all the chapter things. Okay? Now, note down the question. What was the status of Diwan? First question. What was the status of Diwan? And the second question. What were the circumstances which led to the eventual collapse of indigo production in Bengal? So these are the two questions, and you have to learn all the question answers of this chapter here. Okay? So this was the thing I need to discuss over here. I hope you have enjoyed this session. You have enjoyed this part. Okay? Till the next time when I am going to come and deliver another chapter, it's a bye from my side. Wish you all have a nice day, have a wonderful day. Stay with your family, stay with your members of your family. Stay home, stay healthy, stay safe. Thank you.